Attention, all Bay Area citizens. We are currently undergoing a major crisis in our area and around the world. You've heard of it, you've seen of it, and you've probably contributed to it. Especially Bill over there, across the street, you know him. He's got that big Ford F-50 and 10 barbecues going at once. Ooh, Bill. So he's got that mean kid. But we'll get to Bill later. This crisis is air pollution. That's right, air pollution. You're probably thinking, oh, air pollution's not that bad where I'm at. I mean, it looks pretty clear. I can see blue in the sky. It smells pretty nice. Should be fine. Not like China or India or like a major city like Los Angeles. I don't see smog anywhere, so I should be fine, right? No, you are not fine. You're still contributing to it. Maybe not nearly as much as others, but you're still contributing to it. And it will affect you, even from across the world. It's air pollution, not solid pollution. Anyways, today I'll be explaining to you in this informative video of all about air pollution, how to prevent it, how is it caused, about some of the major pollutants, what they do, health risks, and many other things. Alright, so now we're going to get into some of the major air pollutants. This includes sulfur dioxide, which is a corrosive gas that comes from the combustion of fuels and can cause respiratory problems and affects plant tissues. Next we have nitrogen oxide, and this comes from combustion in the atmosphere, which is like fires, anything like that. This includes motor vehicles as well. And it can form the tropospheric ozone layer and smog. I know if you all heard of this one. This one's carbon dioxide, or just, not just carbon dioxide, but carbon oxides, which includes carbon dioxide. Such as carbon monoxide, which is formed by incomplete combustion and can be extremely dangerous indoors. We'll get to that a little later in the video. And then carbon dioxide, which comes from complete combustion and cellular respiration, but mostly from combustion. This is a major pollutant. Like greenhouse effect and stuff like that, but it doesn't really pose any health risk. Alright, so then we go into particulate matter, which can be solid or liquid particles suspended in the air. This generally comes from just combustion of any substance, and this can allow for toxic substances when inhaled to rest deep in the respiratory tract, and can also cause haze. Then we go into photochemical oxidants, which are air pollutants formed from sunlight acting on nitrogen oxides and sulfur dioxides. This can be harmful to plant tissue, respiratory tissue, and construction materials. Next, we go into lead and other metals. This can be released from gasoline usage, and it can also come from paint chipping off of old buildings. This can affect the nervous system, learning, and intelligence. So that concludes our major air pollutants. Next, we're going to go into explaining the difference between primary pollutants and secondary pollutants. Alright, so primary pollutants are pollutants that come directly out of, let's say, like a smokestack, an exhaust pipe, or any other natural emission source, versus a secondary pollutant are primary pollutants, but they have undergone a transformation in presence of things such as sunlight, water, oxygen, and other products. Alright, so now we have a diagram of the difference between primary pollutants and secondary pollutants. Primary pollutants, they come from stuff like your car, natural emissions such as like volcanoes, and natural gas. And then we also have factories. All these go into the atmosphere, and these can include, these are most hydrocarbons and suspended particles, includes carbon monoxide, nitrogen monoxide, carbon dioxide, and some others. And then when, like, let's say sunlight or something acts upon them, then they turn into secondary pollutants such as oxide and some other ones we got up there. Alright, so now we're going to move into photochemical smog, which is the chemical reaction of sunlight, nitrogen oxides, and volatile organic compounds, also known as VOCs. And this is all in the atmosphere, which this will leave airborne particles and ground level ozone. This can also be described as a secondary pollutant as sunlight acts upon these gases and primary pollutants in the air to create photochemical smog. Alright, so I also have a diagram for photochemical smog. As you can see, this nitrogen oxides and VOCs coming from cars and other sources go into the air, and then they react with sunlight, as seen here, and then they come out and form the brown photochemical smog, which is generally seen in more urban and bigger cities. Alright, so now we're going to move into acid deposition. This is also known as acid rain, and it's caused by reactions between sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides in the atmosphere. This then reacts with water and other chemicals to form acid, which then can fall to the ground. The main effects from this is that if enough of it hits bodies of water such as lakes and streams, it can turn the water acidic and make it be able to absorb aluminum. This can also make the aluminum can also make the water toxic for fish and other animals that are trying to drink the water. Alright, so now we're going to move into control and prevention of outdoor air pollution. Something that Bill across the street clearly does not do. There's many ways we can do this. We can do it on a like an industrial scale, or you can do it by yourself. First, we're gonna move into a baghouse filter. This is when air moves through long, rough bags, which act as a filter. Dust accumulates on the bags, and the mechanism cleans the air. Next, we move into an electrostatic precipitator. This removes dust particles by applying a high voltage electrostatic charge and then collects particles on charged plate. Next, we move into a scrubber. This uses water and air to separate and remove particles. These particles are removed in like a liquid or sludge-like form. So those are more the industrial ways to control and prevent air pollution. Now we're going to move into air pollution prevention that you can do yourself and maybe tell Bill to do. This is generally referred to as innovative pollution control. This can be removing wood-burning stoves and reducing the amount of gasoline spilled at gas stations. This can be restricting use of motor vehicles and many other ones, like switching to electric vehicles, stuff like that. Just any way you can reduce carbon emissions and other air pollutant emissions. All of these methods are attempts to limit the production and causes of air pollution. Alright, so now I have a diagram of a baghouse filter. So it works by filtering the dirty air here. As it goes through this chamber of sorts, it goes through these filter bags, and you see all these particles are floating or dropping down to the bottom as it moves through, and then it goes through, and then it comes up here, and this is where it's generally cleaned if it needs to be, and then the clean air moves out through here. Alright, so now we're going to move into hazards of indoor air pollution. This includes asbestos, which are long, thin, fibrous silicate minerals, which are used as insulator. If these are old and start coming apart, this can cause respiratory diseases. And they're only, like I said, only dangerous when they are disturbed. The next one is going to be carbon monoxide. This can come from malfunctioning exhaust systems. This affects, or if there's enough of it, it can affect oxygen transport, which can lead to deprivation of oxygen in the brain, and which can lead to death. The next one's going to be radons, which is a radioactive gas from a decay of uranium. This can come from the soil and can get into your house through cracks in your floor and leaching into the groundwater and into your water system. This can cause lung cancers. Next, we're going to move into VOCs in home products. So they can be used in building material, furniture, and other home products. If there's enough buildup of VOCs, this can cause irritation in the throat and eyes, but so far haven't seemed to pose any serious risks indoors. Alright, so here we have a diagram of all the common sources of carbon monoxide. There's a lot in your home. One of them could be the furnace in your basement. That can leak carbon monoxide. You got your water heater, heats your water, generally in your basement or in your garage. You also have your dryer, which can also leak carbon monoxide. You have the barbecue, which can leak carbon monoxide, and that can be harmful if you leave your barbecue inside and it's on when you don't know it. Next one would be the stove. If that's left on, that can leak carbon monoxide, or if there's a malfunction in it. Probably the biggest one of carbon monoxide is your car, and if you leave that on in your garage, a lot of carbon monoxide is going to build up. The next one would be a fuel-fired fireplace. That can leak carbon monoxide as well. Another one up here, which would be blocked vents or a blocked chimney, which could allow for carbon monoxide to stay inside your house and build up. And then you also have the portable fuel-fired generator, and that can leak carbon monoxide into your house if you leave it inside your house on. To prevent most of these accidents from happening, get an annual inspection for all of your fuel burning appliances in your home, and also you can buy a carbon monoxide detector that will detect if carbon monoxide levels are too high in your house, and that could save your life. And the final thing we're going to talk about today is the thing called sick building syndrome. This is a medical syndrome where people feel ill in a building for no apparent reason. This can be linked to the amount of time in a building, and this can be caused by ineffective ventilation, chemical contaminants, biological contaminants, and many other things. This occurs in buildings in a polluted urban area and to also decaying buildings. Alright, so that concludes our informal video for today. Hopefully with that you can go home and reduce the amount of air pollution you emit. My name is Seth, the Deputy Director of the Bay Area Air Quality Maintenance District, and I'm signing out.